I turn now to Senator Chris Coons, who is on the Senate Judiciary Committee and was rebutting Rudy Giuliani's assertion today that collusion is not a crime. He read aloud from the U.S. Code the actual statutes that the senator notes would be broken if there was collusion with Russia and election interference, which certainly adds to the public record, Senator. I want to start with your view of whether what Donald Trump wrote on the internet today is evidence of potential obstruction.
Well, it's certainly evidence, of his state of mind, of how he views the ongoing Mueller investigation and of what he thinks should happen. His saying this morning that Jeff Sessions should shut down the Mueller investigation, which he calls a rigged witch hunt, as a number of commentators have said so far this evening, could be entered into evidence as something that suggests what his state of mind has been. I'll remind you, this goes all the way back to his Lester Holt interview following his firing of FBI Director James Comey, when he said that he had the Russia investigation in mind when he fired Jim Comey, the former FBI director. So I think there's abundant evidence that obstruction and intent to interfere with the ongoing investigation into whether or not Russia committed some conspiracy with the Trump campaign in order to violate our federal election laws. That's something that's been out there in plain view now for months. Frankly, my answer as to why President Trump did this morning is a combination of appealing to his base, delegitimizing the Mueller investigation, and he frankly partly just can't help himself.
Can't help himself, right, because as we've reported, his lawyer's reaction shows that this was coming from the top and that they wanted to say it didn't do what it did. Getting to your other piece, sometimes it feels like we're all going through a type of law school together in this era, and you would be one of our voluntary professors, I suppose. Collusion, conspiracy, criminal hacking and theft, fraud against the United States, foreign campaign contributions, those are all felonies that relate to what has been alleged in 2016. Walk us through your point about what crimes constitute collusion.
Well, first, the term collusion here is being used casually. What it's really referring to, I'll remind you, is a conspiracy to break federal election laws. The federal election law, and I think this is Title 52 of the U.S. Code, Section 30121, says that it is a crime to solicit or accept a thing of value from a foreign national in order to influence a federal election. I'm summarizing what is a much longer paragraph, but essentially that's what it says, is that a foreign national can't contribute either money or a thing of value, and an American can't solicit or receive a thing of value from a foreign national in connection with a federal election. And that's really the crux of what's being investigated here, is whether or not the Russian, well-documented, wide-scale Russian effort by dozens of military intelligence officers to influence the American election and to offer hacked emails was in some way either solicited or accepted by the Trump campaign team. That's why I think the developments in recent days that Michael Cohen may well be willing to testify that President Trump knew about the June 9th Trump Tower meeting with Russians offering dirt on Hillary Clinton could be a key turning point here. There's lots of public evidence of an enthusiasm by the highest levels of the Trump campaign to accept information derogatory to Hillary Clinton and her campaign. There's now lots of evidence that Robert Mueller's investigation has made public through indictments of Russian efforts to influence the outcome of the campaign. What's been missing so far is something that connects point A to point B and makes it into a conspiracy. And that may well be the evidence that Robert Mueller's preparing to present. I'll also just, in closing, remind you that lying to federal investigators is also a federal offense. And sometimes things that are said on Twitter, whether it's by Donald Trump Jr. or by Paul Manafort or others, what really ends up being the thing that hangs them up is having testified in front of a committee or to an FBI investigator one way, and then it being proven that the facts are the opposite. So I think those are the three core issues here: violating federal election law, working in partnership to break the American laws, which is conspiracy, and then lying to investigators. Most of the indictments that have so far come out from the Mueller investigation move along one of those three tracks. I expect we'll be seeing more indictments in the near future.
So, Senator, to paraphrase, it sounds like they were right to say collusion is not a crime because collusion is like 4 crimes.
That's right. What we are commonly referring to as collusion is a complex series of violations of federal election law,
Right.
of truthfulness to investigators, and the commonly known crime of conspiracy, which is, I think, 18 U.S.C. 371. And that's just working with more than one other person to break federal law. That's
Right.
simple conspiracy.
Senator Chris Coons, a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, an expert on many of these issues, I really do appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you, Ari.
Now, still ahead, there could be a big development in Paul Manafort's trial. We have that former federal prosecutor who is in the courtroom today in just a moment.